We'll take a quick break. When we come back, it's going to be the final leg of the conversation. This time, we're going to talk about the press and how it fared and issues around freedom. In just a moment, stay with us.
In all, if there's no seller, there cannot be a buyer. If nobody's not selling, nobody will buy.
But if there's no demand, there cannot be a supply. So I think the buyer should be the problem first.
Yeah, well, there are some of you accept to sell your conscience even worse than the person who buying it. Because you must donate your right, donate whosoever you are. Because that's the right of a citizen. So when you now decide to donate it, and somebody takes it, you can't cry foul. So when you blame the society for it. Well, so far there has not been an incident of any mishap or something. Of course, generally, during election, you experience one riot here and there, but unrest here and there. But so far, they've not complained that anybody has died or somebody has been hurt. Okay, so there are incidents where they are beating people up here and there, especially they just call me now that one of our agents at Oto was beaten up.
Where in Oto, sir?
Oto, the community.
No, they are like Central School Oto. Like, do you know the particular place?
I didn't say exactly where. But when you look at those things, it is come from a point of bullying people maybe because you don't want to. It might seem good for you today. Many people have been incumbents. If you are no more tomorrow, you think you cry for this side. But if you are, you think that you're doing right too. But you know, God gives power. Whosoever He gives, chooses, He gives.
Stay connected to the world with Channels TV Podcast and get all the trending stories. Simply log on to channelstv.com. Click on podcast, select the program of your choice, and listen. Our podcast is available on Apple, Google, and Spotify. Tap the expertise you trust. Touch the stories that touch you. Anytime, anywhere.
The rule is that once you are in the polling unit before 2:30, you must vote. So I expect that all these people, you can still see a few, I'm sure there's still more than 100 persons yet to vote here. So I expect that they will all vote. We have opponents, but we have not seen the opposition. And but even then, we have not taken the votes of the people for granted. And that's why we're literally the only party, the only candidate that cries across the entire 21 local governments, the entire 326 wards, the markets, streets, roads, everywhere.
Welcome back to our continuing coverage of the Anambra State governorship election live from Awka, the Anambra State capital, where we're broadcasting on Channels Television. The collation center is where the attention is right now, where all the local government returning officers will head to present their results to the returning officer who will make a final declaration as to who has become the winner of this election. The entire result, almost the entire result, has also actually been uploaded on IRA. But I have my guest, my final guest for tonight with me, Laria Arogundede, is Executive Director of the International Press Center, IPC. We meet again.
Yes.
It's been a long day.
Very long day. Very long day indeed.
How did the press perform today?
I think the press performed creditably well. From reports, I'm sure we had journalists in almost all the local governments looking at what was going on, giving situation reports. Some of them even worked as journalist observers for the International Press Center and the Center for Media and Society. We're glad that we didn't have the usual incidents involving security agents and journalists. Only one incident was recorded where a journalist was barred from filming an interview by the security men, but maybe reason prevailed and invariably that journalist was allowed. We're still collating reports, but so far we've not had any incident involving infringement of the rights of journalists. In the past, we were worried that even when journalists were accredited by INEC,
Welcome back. We apologize for that break in transmission. Mr. Anambra Arugundede, Executive Director of International Press Center, is my guest. You were talking about how free and how effective the press was.
Yes, so I would then say that in general, we could say that the coverage was quite robust. I mean, we saw what you did at Channels Television. Almost even before police started, you were already stationed, capturing what was going on, talking to the voters. I was glad that you also interviewed, young people, because we need to get their perspectives over this election. Many of them registered, they collected their PVCs. And remember, we were worried that we didn't see many young people coming out initially. So these are indicators that the media was very much interested in this election. And that is how it should be. This is a stand-alone off-cycle governorship election. The other ones usually have 2 or 3. Next year, we'll have Osun and the Ekiti states. But this is a standalone. It's a test of how prepared INEC is. It's a test of the integrity of the electoral process.
Fantastic. Great points you've raised as far as what we've witnessed and what we've seen so far. One of the things that kept crossing my mind while you were talking was whether or not media presence really deters electoral fraud, in your view. What do you make of that?
I think it's like an oversight, and it's a way of holding stakeholders in the electoral process accountable, because immediately they see journalists or media establishments around, they know you are going to ask questions. Just as you were doing this morning, having to go there, look at the beavers, talk about it. So media presence actually ensures accountability by electoral stakeholders, because they know you are watching them. They know you would ask questions. Remember that you were going to those polling units, asking them how many people had voted so far in the morning. And the good thing was that they were cooperative. They were saying, well, we hadn't exhausted one booklet. So, which means that through our reporting, people can also have an idea of what is going on. Because if we reported in the polling unit that as at the time polling was closing, according to the officials there, maybe only 2 or 3 booklets have been exhausted, and another result is declared, then it would mean that something had gone wrong. So the role of the media would always be very, very important at any election.
So what can we learn, as we begin to wind down, what can we learn from this exercise as journalists? It's been peaceful, there's voter apathy, and we've done our own part. What can we learn in 1 minute?
Well, I think a major lesson is that we as media need to hold the political parties much more accountable than we have done so far.
We see them
we focus more
agents.
when it comes to election. We're talking about INEC all the time. We're talking about security agencies. We're talking about the police. We're not asking questions from the political parties. One of the things that emerged in the course of this election was the report that in some remote areas, some border towns with other states, that the people were not even aware that the election was going on.
Wow.
And who do you blame for that? It's the political party, because if they had gone there to campaign, definitely people would ask and say, what's happening? The election is coming. So I feel that my major takeaway really is that we need to hold the political parties much more accountable. They need to be much more involved in voter education. And if you are contesting election, you must show seriousness. Your agents must be on ground so that we don't have unnecessary disputations.
Yeah, fantastic. we observed that agents were not on ground. Mr. Anambra Arugundede, Executive Director, International Press Center, thank you for watching out for how the press fared, in every election or every activities of, as far as we carry out our responsibility enshrined in the Constitution. Thank you so much, sir, for coming on the program.
Thank you very much.